Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of HR to CHRO podcast. And today we have Mr. Navjot Dhar with us. He started his career with Accenture, and then he was with HP, Hewlett Packard, then with Mars, then he was head HR at Godrej, then he was with Tata's, then Dr. Reddy's, and currently he's HR head at MYK LATICRETE. So, welcome, Navjot. Thanks for giving us time.
Thank you, Amit. It's a pleasure to be with you and to connect with our audience. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk to you.
All right. So, to start with, you are an engineer.
Yes.
And people who come from the technical background, generally they may have different career options. Or one of the reasons why people reach the top is because they have a different mindset from the normal people in that domain. So, two questions related to each other. One, how did or when did you decide after doing your engineering that you wanted to be in HR? One. Secondly, how has this starting of technical from a technical point of view, how has it helped you in your career?
All right. Very interesting question, Amit. And, when I look back on my days of joining Accenture, I still keep wondering how did I end up in HR? Those days, we were at the peak of the IT boom. There was also the Lehman Brothers that happened. And everybody was in, for the next big thing that's going to come our way. And Accenture was one of our campus hiring organizations and used to come to our campus. At some point in time during the program, I got to know about this work study program that they had in partnership with XLRI. And I thought, why not? I come from an engineering background. I know IT engineering. Accenture is a good IT company. Let me start with HR, and then I'll see if I want to go back and do IT. That was back in 2007. Fast forward to 2026, I'm still with HR. So I think I would say I'm an accidental HR professional at this point in time, rather than saying it's a planned journey.
So the second question, does it see, because many of the CHROs that we have had the podcast, CHROs and HR heads, many of them did not start their career journey or their student journey with the goal that they would end up in HR. And maybe that is one of the reasons why they are successful, because it's only 0.5% people who reach the CXO level. So your engineering background, does it help you or did it help you during your career journey to look at the problems in a different way, in a more analytical way? Any thoughts on that?
Sure. If I step back to my journey at Accenture, it was a mix of domain knowledge for sure, because I knew some bits of, I did my engineering in IT, so I knew what programming is. I'm not saying I was a great programmer, but I knew what programming is, what networking is, how do we work with systems, enterprise systems, or customer delivery. So the basics were there. That was one part. Second part was I had a good set of managers, right? And this is a deadly combination in my mind, because both of them together enabled me to think through my work in a very, very different way. While my engineering background helped me connect with my business better, the inputs I had from my leaders at that point in time gave me a space to understand the importance of business in HR and the importance of HR in business. And this is very critical. So I would say, yes, technical background definitely helped me to look at things from my employees' perspective. Why some of my employees would want to pick up X skills, why some of them would want to continue with Y skills. At that point in time, let's say SAP was at its peak. Right. So why everybody all of a sudden wanted to go to SAP, get cross-trained in SAP. Understanding that, having the balance between empathy and analytics, I think that is what helped me.
Very nice. Very nice. So would you say that you mentioned connecting with business because you were from IT background and the organization you joined was in IT. So that helped you connect with business. So are we saying that when a young HR professional, when he or she starts his or her career, it might not be a bad idea to know more about the business of that industry?
I would say that's the first thing any HR professional should know.
Okay.
And I would put it in very specific steps. First, unless you're working with an NGO, right? Unless we are working with an NGO, we are here to generate certain amount of revenue for the organization. And this is true for all organizations on the planet, without any exceptions. So the question is, how does the organization generate revenue? To understand that, we need to understand what is the vision of the organization, what is its purpose. To understand that, we need to understand what is hence the background of the organization. For example, let's say Accenture or any other IT organization which is in consulting, technology, or outsourcing. They are trying to help external clients, right? At the same time, if I look at an FMCG organization, for example, Mars, they are the biggest chocolate producers globally. First, a lot of people don't even know that, right? They're number one, right? At least they were at that point in time. I've not seen the recent statistics, so let me not quote them. But they were the number one chocolate company at that point in time. So their end product is chocolate. Now, out of curiosity, we need to know how chocolate is made. Out of curiosity, we need to know who is this chocolate for. Out of curiosity, we need to know if I'm going to service a banking client, what are the client needs? Why is it that they are coming to an Accenture for service? Why they can't do it on their own? So for me, understanding the business is the first and the most important thing for any professional, and very important for an HR professional. I'll also say why. HR, in my mind, is the only function other than finance who can get in and get out of any of the organization functions as and when they want. So if I today want to see how supply chain works, nobody in the organization is going to say, why are you doing it? If I need to understand how my factory or how my production works, nobody is going to stop me. And the role of the HR is also to create a balance between empathy and objectivity.
Right.
These are critical things. A good HR professional will be able to do this only when they have a good understanding of why the business exists in the first place. What is the vision? What is the purpose? Then comes, what are we into? What is the strategy? So on and so on. And you keep drilling it down till the last mile, till your last employee. And you understand the purpose of the role, why this role is critical. Once the understanding is built, the HR journey is very, very different altogether. All of a sudden, you look at employee in a holistic way. It's not just about, let's say, if I'm in a sales organization, it's not about the targets. It's all about what are the growth levers for the employee. Are we enabling the employee to achieve the targets? Hence, is the employee able to achieve the targets? If not, where are we going wrong? Are the targets too aspirational? Are the enabling levers not being provided? And hence, we are not able to achieve. Because if one unit in an organization fails, it will slowly lead to the failure of the organization. Hence, linking business to HR is the most important thing. And then you link HR back to business. So it's a cycle.
Very nice. Very powerful words, Navjot. So when you made a shift from IT, you are an engineer, you started with IT, and because of your background, maybe you were able to understand business a lot better. But then you moved to FMCG, Mars. So how was the journey? Why did you take this challenging step? Because normally people like to stay in a comfort zone. And from IT, being an engineer, you are moving into FMCG. So one, how did you decide on taking up this challenging role? Second, how did you learn about this new business? Because when you at a senior level, when you're joining mid-level, senior level, you have to start performing from day one, and time is at a premium. So how did you learn about business in that new industry? So two questions.
Sure. I'll go with the first question first. Why did I move from IT to non-IT or to an FMCG world? Again, I would take a reflection back on my stints both with Accenture and with HP. I keep saying this to people that I meet. I was blessed with some of the most wonderful leaders that I worked with. And these leaders not only gave me a challenging perspective to my career, but they also pushed me to my limits in terms of what I can do and what I can do more. At every point in time, when I was working in both these organizations, there were multiple projects that I used to work on in parallel to my normal job. And there was a tremendous support from my leaders to enable these additional projects. At some point in time, I had touched upon most of the HR verticals during my stint in these two organizations. And then I thought, okay, I know how to be successful in IT. Can I replicate the same success in a place where I don't know anything, in a place which will give me new challenge or push me to my limits? That's when the thought of FMCG came in, and I moved from HP to Mars. Mars was a completely new organization. They were independently scaling up their chocolate business in India at that point in time. Again, Amit, be it by luck or be it by coincidence, I cannot comment on that. But the first thing my manager at that point in time, she told me is, you don't know anything about sales. Go to the market and understand what an ASM does. And then from there, I think for the first 2 months, or rather even 3 months, I was just in the field understanding what people are doing on the ground. At that point in time, we did not have a manufacturing setup in India for chocolate. We used to import them. So sales was what I understood in and out. Sitting with my ASMs, working with my executives, we used to call them sales officers at that point in time. And also going to my leadership across different functions, supply chain, marketing, etc., to understand how it works. At Mars, the interesting thing was, and this was the first time I came across uh, the title of the role as people and organization. It was no longer human resources, it was people and organization. And we were called people and organization co-pilots, which very clearly gave the purpose of the role, which is that while the business is driving, you are helping them navigate. You are the co-pilot with the business. And this designation was given only to two functions, finance and HR. I thought that was very powerful, which also set the expectations. Hence, I took upon me to ensure that I understand the business much better. And end of the day, it was chocolate. So there was nothing to, worry about. Wherever you go, somebody would offer you a chocolate. So it was always a sweet temptation. The curiosity also was to understand why chocolates sell. Because again, it's a difficult balance between whom are you selling to and when are you selling to, right? So, for example, in lot of countries, you're not supposed to directly advertise to kids when it comes to chocolate.
Right.
Mars used to follow it, and that is where I understood the purpose, the vision of the organization in a very different way. Yes, we are the market leaders, but we will not advertise to children. How do you sell responsibly? How do you market your product responsibly? You'll not understand this till such time you go deep, right? And you will always see the ads that you see for Mars, for example, Snickers. You are not you when you're hungry. Never to a kid, always to an adult. And it is very different ballgame altogether, right? So it teaches you how to market your products responsibly. It also teaches you how do you, uh, you know, enable the ecosystem to be healthy and also to generate revenue for the organization. I don't think I would have been able to understand this unless I would have met the very people who have set up this vision. And be it from the sales officer of the organization to the family members of the Mars organization. The vision, the way they look at their purpose, the way they look at their business is very, very different.
Very powerful. So this is a very interesting point, the purpose, and this is so very interesting that company is not advertising to one of the biggest customer bases they have because that's their policy. So when we talk about purpose, how does one individual finds out his or her purpose in life? Because company is successful because of their purpose. So any thoughts? I mean, it's a slightly philosophical question, but in case you would like to share any thoughts on that, Navjot.
So Amit, this is something which has intrigued me for many years. There are very few people who have clarity on purpose, and I'll be very honest about it. I may be one of them, I may not be one of them. I'm still trying to figure it out, right? But people who are clear about their purpose, they drive it in a very different way. And these are the top, let's say, 0.1% of the population of this planet, right? They are very clear about the noise and voice in their life. I remember this interview we had with, I was just watching a video of somebody who had worked close to Steve Jobs, and he was talking about the voice to noise ratio. How much do you let the noise impact your actual purpose? Are you able to filter it? And he was like, with Steve Jobs, he was very clear what he has to do in next 10 hours, next 12 hours, next 24 hours, so on and so on. And then he gave example of Elon Musk. And he's like, for this guy, there is no noise at all. He's very clear. He's very clear, and that is the purpose that defines it. And I see this in the leaders who are at the top of their game. What I feel, first, it's very difficult to understand purpose because it will be all over the place. You have to go really deep into your inner core to understand the purpose. Second, once you have clarity, there's nothing that would that will change your mind about the goal that you have. The way I look at whatever little career I have seen, I see my life's purpose as trying to achieve my potential, the way I see it within HR, right? And I always say that it's me who defines my potential. If I start limiting my potential, I will not grow. And that's where you'll see my career changes. Whenever I've changed, I've looked at a different kind of an organization. Maybe it could be a different geography, a different culture, a different industry altogether, because these are the places which give me the added advantage, as you said, so-called business advantage, and a purpose of doing things differently. For example, what I learned in Moscow with Dr. Reddy's, because it was not an India assignment, what I learned in Moscow was very different. First, when I reached Russia, the brief which was in my mind versus what I saw on the ground was very, very different. Right? A month before joining Dr. Reddy's, I was thinking, okay, I'm going to move to Russia. And, it comes with its own thought process.
Right.
After 1 month, I look back and like, wow, where am I? This is completely different to what people say. And I think these are the things that help you define, going back to the question on purpose, these are the things that help you define how your career journey will be and how do you look at things in life.
Very powerful. See, why I asked is because when we have been talking about, connecting with business is very important. Empathy and analytics, empathy and objectivity, striking that balance for an HR professional is very important. Vision and purpose, curiosity is very important. And now purpose. So now, apart from, the business, understanding the business, where we have talked about in detail, some more thoughts on all these points. Empathy and objectivity, maybe we'll handle separately, specific to HR. But for any young professional, curiosity. How important is curiosity, and why is it important to have vision and purpose, like we talked about, and the achieving the potential, clarity, goal setting. Some thoughts on these skills. What are the other secrets of success which has helped Navjot reach? You became an HR head within 9-10 years, 8-9 years, which is relatively a faster career journey. So, what are these other secrets of success which have helped you reach this position?
Okay, very interesting, Amit. Again, first I would want to all my success, the credit for all my success, it goes to the fantastic managers I had. Be it Accenture, be it HP, be it Mars, be it Godrej, be it Tata Consumers, be it Dr. Reddy's, and now at MYK Group. I've had the best set of leaders I've ever worked with. And I'm really thankful. And this is from the bottom of my heart. I say this. I can go, maybe for hours and hours together on each of the leaders I've worked with and the journey and the experience they've provided. It's been absolutely fantastic. When I look at the career, okay, what I understood in last few years is, given where we are in India, there is enough demand, there is enough supply. So it's not a question of whether you'll be successful or not. I truly believe every individual who is working to his or her potential would be successful. Success, or the definition of success, starts with the question that we started off with: purpose. What is the purpose? Where do I see myself at a certain point in time in life? Let's say if I take my career journey at 50, I would want to be let's say, an independent consultant. I'd want to work from home. I want to service my business. Maybe money is a driver, maybe money is not a driver, but I need to have my vision there first. I need to have my purpose. As I said, I'm still exploring, but I would want to have my purpose. Now, if I look at the career journey, the whole story is about how you get to this vision. I would split it into two parts: the first half of the career and the second half of the career. First half of the career, people start, all of us will start with the bottom of the pyramid.
Correct.
There will be success. There will be time-based promotions. There will be role changes. There will be organization changes for sure. Now the question is, how do I define success? Getting promoted once in 2 years, getting promoted thrice in 2 years, is that success? For me, success in first half of the career is all about being curious, learning about your business, learning about your own capabilities, understanding what you're good at and what you want to be in your second half of the career.
Oh,
That lays the foundation of your success for the second half. And now that I've met with so many leaders and so many people in the organization, I also understand that success can also be that I want to be at the mid management level. I don't want to be a CHRO all the time. I don't want to be a CXO all the time. I can have a very nice work life balance. I want to be in a 9 to 5 organization where I am utilized to 100% of my capacity, not more, not less. I'm happily engaged. I have a good work life balance. I have a family priority to attend to. That also is success.
correct.
But the question is, are we clear about it? Or are we in the rat race to see that my peers are earning more, hence I need to earn more? But why I need to earn more, I don't know. My peers are at CXO levels. I want to be a CXO. Why? I don't know. That is not success.
Correct.
Right? So success, as I said, is broken into two parts. First half of your career, let's say the first building years of your career, be curious to know what you want to do. Be curious to build the skill sets. Be curious to explore. Be curious to question. And based on what you intend to do for future, set up your first half accordingly. That, Amit, is important in my mind. And for all the young professionals who are coming in, my advice is don't be under the stress of becoming successful. Everybody will be successful. The question is, are you clear whether you want to be, let's say, a certain level, a certain vision? That is what the youngster should first figure out.
Mhm.
Not because somebody told me something, I should do something. Not because my friends are at this level, hence I want to be here. But what is the inner calling? That should be very clear.
See, this is a very interesting point of discussion, Navjot. See, when I started my career, for the first few years, whenever we friends would meet, we would discuss about so and so person from our batch is receiving so and so package. And
Yes.
and so and you would start questioning yourself, what are you doing? Are you going the right way? So that is one side of the story. Now, second side of the story is how do I know what I want? See, we do mind programming workshops, brain rewiring workshops. People at the age of at the senior level also sometimes don't know what they want because they
Yeah.
don't contemplate or for whatever reason. So two sides. How do I decide? How do I decide what I want, and how do I leave that noise all around, that peer pressure, like you mentioned, that peers comparison with peers and all. Any thoughts on this?
So, this, as I said, finding purpose is not an easy thing, and I'll consistently say that it's one of the most difficult things in life. Uh, Finding a task, finding something to chase is the easiest.
Correct.
And as I said, I know your organization works on leadership development using the brain rewiring techniques, right? My suggestion is, why shouldn't youngsters use it? It helps you understand your purpose better. The other thing is, purpose may change with the stage of the life that you are in. And that is where I normally tell my young team members that if you want to choose a fast track career, then it is your choice, right? Don't go for it because somebody is telling you to go for it. If you want to choose a fast track career, it requires a certain amount of uh, intent. It requires certain amount of pushing yourself to the limits. It requires a certain amount of even pushing your boundary limits. And this is the most difficult task because saying it is easy, doing it is difficult,
Correct.
right? And that's where some of the techniques that your organization implements or teaches, that could be very powerful for the young folks to scale it up with. The other thing also is that as you progress through the stages of life, let's say now, if I see few years back, the average marriage age in India was pushing towards 30. I see that the trend is again coming down, at least for the metros. It's again coming down to 27, 28. Once we have a family in India, it is a difficult thing to sustain. Again, these are the basics we should be clear about. What's happening around us? Social security. How am I gearing up for my future, not just for myself, but for my family?
Correct.
Health, education. These are costly affairs, right? I remember when I was studying, we used to pay maybe 80 rupees or 90 rupees school fees. But today, I won't even get a meal for my daughter in the school that she's studying for that money.
Correct.
And that is where the world has evolved. These are the things that youngsters should not ignore. And more that I talk to uh, the that age bracket of 25 to 30, I see, yes, there's a new generation, whatever we want to name them as. They have a different mindset, they have a different thought process. The question is how much of this is influence and how much of this is their own.
Correct.
What I see is that I feel the influence part is higher, the self-reflection part is lower, and that is what will impact them as they move in future. So these are the things, Amit. I think these are the things that kids nowadays will have to look at, and I'll call them kids with all due respect, because I still see them, with multiple thought processes. People come and say, okay, for 2 years I want to do this, then I want to change and do something else, then I want to do my MBA after so many years because now I'm bored and stuff. So I hear the word bored, I'm restless, I want to try something. But what I don't hear is why I want to do it. Why am I bored? Why I don't want to push my limits. Those are the things I see which should be the job of the current leaders to train them.
Very nice. Very powerful. So see, are we saying that for the first half of their career, maybe they should opt for a fast track career journey and just go all out for the first few years before they are married or they have responsibilities, and during that time, like you mentioned that you used to take projects in your first two organizations, which helped you gain so lot of input apart from the work that you were primarily doing. So in the first few years, taking up those projects, stretching yourself, and trying to go for a fast track journey, and then realizing that the purpose may be different, and then gradually, in case you still want to go for the CXO level, after the first term, then still go. Why only CXO? C, why not CEO? So you'll have to make some sacrifices, but that is also a possibility. So is that the correct solution for a youngster?
If they choose to, I'll always be clear. If they choose to, right? As I said, purpose, in my head, purpose follows responsibility.
Correct.
Right? I am responsible for my career. So I need to have the purpose for my career. It's my own ownership. I will always use the word I here in a very, very pronounced way. I cannot choose a career path because Amit told me to follow a career path. It's not the way careers work, right? Now, for the youngsters who want to have a fast track career, they have to develop skill sets because the world is changing and it's changing really fast. Today, how many of the youngsters are adopting AI not to change their face portrait for Facebook or Insta, but actually to make their work easier and faster? That is a skill set. It's not about, again, it's not about the fact that they will not be successful. I'm saying this again and again. Everybody will be successful. We have enough demand in our industry in India, at least. I'm talking about India. There's no scarcity of demand, there's no scarcity of supply. We are going to be a powerhouse economy for next 20 years at least. So anybody who's entering the career today for next 20, 25 years, they're bound to be successful. The market will pay, the economy will go up, there is a lot of investments coming in, the new industry is getting set up. And we are a self-consumption driven economy. So we don't have to rely much on exports. At least I tend to believe that.
Correct.
With all of these things happening, there are going to be enough opportunities for people who are coming out of the system. Again, the question is, do you want to achieve your goal faster, or you want to achieve it over a period of time? If you want to do it faster, yes, you have to stretch. Yes, you have to take up new projects. You have to build skill sets which are differentiated. And I would say some of the habits that I picked up in Accenture, in HP, in Mars, they still continue. I still pick up multiple projects outside of my core work. And that helps me, be sharp, develop new skill sets.
So see, then another question is, how do I decide what is my purpose? Do I take some, like you mentioned that you had very good managers, so mentors. That is one way you have a set of mentors whom you can ask and find out what is what are you looking for? What is your purpose? Other than that, is there, should a youngster go for any psychometric test, or how do I find out what do I like, what I don't like? Or like you mentioned that take up different projects and, maybe nature, like you said in the first two jobs, you had more or less worked in all the HR verticals. So
Yeah.
is that one of the ways?
This is where I would say the concept of life and work has to integrate. We can refer to the concept of ikigai from Japan.
Correct.
Very, very interesting concept. And I can also refer to Three Idiots in a more lighter way, right? We need to figure out what we love, what drives us, right? What are we good at? And then, is this what the world needs? And then the most important thing, will I get paid for it?
Correct.
See, I'm being very, very clear, right? If I do what I love, right, and I'm now good at it, okay, and this is what is a service that people around me would need, they'll pay for it. Let me rewind back to the beginning of our careers. Who thought vlogging could be a career? It is a career today. Nobody thought it could pay. People would do it just for the share happiness of sharing their experience, right? I've gone on a ride, I'm sharing my experience. I've cooked something, I'm sharing my experience. Back old days when YouTube was just starting, when there was no Facebook, there was Orkut. People will still share, right? But who thought this could be a career? Who thought Cocomelon would end up doing more than 1 billion views on almost most of their videos, right? And some of the vloggers who have started way back then, again, I would not name people, but there are bloggers who started way back then, and now they're reaping the benefits of success of something that they started. They didn't stop because they loved what they were doing, but at some point in time, they started getting paid for it, and now they are where they are, right? And this is what I talk about. This is where it all links back to that success. Now, the difficult part is to identify how do you want to go there and what is your success and what is your passion. This is where curiosity comes in.
Very nice.
What makes you curious? What makes you think about the next day? Are you getting up from your bed to say, another day at work? And now I'm coming back to work, right? Are you getting up and, oh, another day at work? Oh, that miserable Excel sheet. Oh, my deadlines. Ah, my boss will say something. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Then you're not loving what you're doing. It doesn't matter what skill sets you have, what capabilities you have, you're not going to be successful. But you get up from your day, yes, today I need to ensure that these 5 things are done. And doesn't matter what comes my way, I'll get this done. That will help you grow. And the more you go back to all these successful people, I'll keep saying this, 2 or 3 things of focus, drive it like you have nothing else to do. Drive it with passion, drive it with curiosity. How can you make it better? How can you make it simpler? How can you get money out of it? Let's be clear. I'm not doing my job only because I love it. I'm also doing it because I'm getting paid for it. At some point in time, when money is no longer a motivator, maybe I'll do everything pro bono. But I am not going to shy away from the fact that I would like to be paid for the services I get today. And for that, I need to know what the market is going to pay. For that, I need to know what the market wants. And for that, I need to be at that skill set, what market wants. I can aspire to be a CXO, but if I don't know how, let's say in my current organization, if I don't understand construction chemicals, what is a brick mortar versus what is a tile adhesive, if I don't understand this, then my business side at some point in time, my founder CEO at some point in time will come and say, dude, I want to sell this. You're getting me people from recruitment who are selling chocolates. Right? So that's how I'll sum it up.
So another thing which comes to my mind is, how do you differentiate between voice and noise? Because see, brain rewiring in our workshops also, there are various blockages that people have that we uncover. basically the biases, the prejudices, the beliefs, basically which are created by the noise, by the news we watch, by the the Insta reels that we watch, or by the people we talk to, or the movies we watch. So we assume, and it's a very important point which I want to highlight. Uh, uh, Discussing with you, Navjot, that how does one decide? I want a fast track journey, but do I really want it? Is it because somebody from my batch is going on a faster track? So how do I decide? Because the noise around is so much nowadays as compared to in our generation. Some time back, where the level of noise would stop once you are out of the school, you reach your home. You are only with you, with your family and your friends with whom you go out to play. So how does one decide that?
It is a difficult question, and other than that particular individual trying to figure out, nobody else can solve for that individual. This is something now I'm very clear on. So the moment people ask me the question, what do you want, or what should I aspire or inspire for? My question is, what do you want? It always starts with what do you want? And I mean, that's where I will repeat this for the nth time. Being curious really helps. See, today, I do not go on social media at all. I don't even have a social media account. I'm
Very
not
nice.
there on Insta.
Very nice.
I'm not there on Snapchat. I'm not there on Facebook. I know all of these exists, but I don't want to be there. Not because uh, it's something which is critical, but it's something that adds noise in my life. So I'm very clear. LinkedIn, because I need to have a professional connect. I need to find the right candidates. I need to see what's going on in the work side of the world. So I'm very clear I want it. I would also say X, formerly Twitter, because I would complain. And that's my only. If you go back to my hashtags, it will only be about complaints. Complaints about my bike service, at times complaint about something else or something. Now the question is, how do I separate, or how should people separate this? It will again go back to the same four questions I said. First is curiosity. Am I clear on what I want? There will be 10 advisors for sure. One thing I always like about India is rather two things. One is you'll get a free advice. You ask for it, you don't ask for it. You'll always get it. Second is for every problem, there is a jugaad.
Correct.
These are two things about my country that I really love. Now, the question is when you have so much of information coming, how do you separate it? Simple. Isolate yourself. Isolate yourself and think. There is a very important practice, at least that I have, is when I get too much of information, when I have too many things to think or do, I'll just isolate myself. I'll go back to the drawing board, put everything on a piece of paper, and see what is critical, what is not critical, what is noise, what is voice. I have to do it because nobody else is going to do it for me. For example, uh, let's say there are 5 things to be done. They're all deadlines. And I'm just giving a very mundane example, right? But they will have complicated implications once implemented. I'll just take my bike, go for a morning ride, sit at a place, have breakfast, put down all these things, put down the pros and cons, take my decision. Once I have taken all the inputs, I may choose to reflect it with my peers. I may choose to reflect it with my business leaders. I may choose to bounce it off with neutral people outside the organization, etc. This is for them to give me clarity. But end of the day, I have to own up what is my decision. I cannot say I decided because 5 people told me, yes, this is good to do. No, I decided because I feel this is the right thing to do. I feel this should bring in success to the organization, to the people, or at my home personally. Those are decisions I have to own. So, ownership pegged with curiosity and the right decision making model. This will help you segregate your noise and voice.
Very nice. So, like you have this habit of going for a ride. You're a you like riding. I understand. So, it is important to how important is it to have a hobby like going for a jog or painting or cooking somewhere where you can take your mind away from those points and then contemplate and then the solution let the solution come to you. So that you would say.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely critical because hobby is something, again, that is core rooted to the happiness as an individual. You pick up a hobby, or I'll pick up a hobby. I will define it as doing something that I love, something that will make me relax, something that will make me smile, something that will take my mind off the worldly things. I would define a hobby like that. Not because there are 10 people who are painting and hence I have to paint and hence painting is a hobby. It is not a hobby. Hobby is something that you can do alone. You can do it for as long as you want,
Correct.
and it kind of silos you from the world. And when you're in that, you get your time to think. And it could be in different ways. For some people, it could be yoga. For some people, it could be dancing. For some people, it could be just listening to songs, something that will take you away from the worldly noise. For me, that is a hobby.
Very
And
powerful.
yes, people should have it. Again, for unfortunate for us, and maybe this is a little controversial, but I don't see parents emphasizing enough on their kids to have a hobby. What I see today, kids have to go for classes,
Correct.
they have to pick up extra languages, they have to pick up at least one or two sports, they have to pick up this, they have to pick up that, blah, 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 blah. But what does the kid like? What is the hobby? Are you asking your kids? And in the same way, are we asking our youngsters in our organization, what do they really like? What do they really want? And hence, when they're outside of their work, where do they spend their time? Because at work, there's a specific amount of noise that will come to you. And I'll give you a very, very simple. You've been working for a while, right? Has any employee ever come to you and said, I am happy, I am satisfied, I don't want anything in life, I will just do my job in India? And again, this is very cultural and this is very in the moment, right? In India, how many times your team members have come to you and said, Amit, I'm happy. Please don't disturb me. I'll do this role for next 20 years. How many discussions like this you've had? Maybe one, maybe two across a 30-year career span. When I went outside for my first assignment and then for my second assignment, this is a natural thought process for people.
Oh,
We had a receptionist who was like, I'm happy being a receptionist. Please don't bother me. I don't need a promotion. I'm happy with the salary you pay me. Please don't bother me. I've had people in Russia who said, I'm at a specific level in my career. I don't want more. I have my work life balance. I find my place. I'm competent to do my job. I'm delivering my results. I don't want to take up more responsibilities. I don't want a promotion.
very nice.
Absolutely clear. And they've been very, very clear. I told them, you guys have potential. No, we understand we have potential, but it's not a choice I want. I want to spend that extra vacation where nobody bothers me. I want to spend time with my family where I don't have to pick up work calls. So I'm happy. And they're not bad performers at all. And it's a very healthy way of working. They're delivering targets or they're delivering their jobs. They're super performers, but they're happy where they are. They don't want to move. We don't have those discussions here in India right now.
Correct.
And this is a change of perspective I had in different places. And that's why at the beginning I said success is different for different employee or a different person. For some, success would be CXO at 10 years. For some, success could be, I don't want to be CXO. I'm happy being a HR business partner. I'm happy being a compensation head. I'm happy being a recruitment head. I don't want to be a CXO. I don't want to be a CHRO. In quite a few of my organizations, I was offered succession to the business head. I was clear, no, I cannot do business because I don't want to do business, uh, not because I don't understand it or because I cannot deliver a P&L. But it's not something I'll enjoy. It's simple. It's not something I'll enjoy. So I'll put a hard stop there, right? This is where the leaders have to take charge of inculcating these beliefs in the teenagers, in the youngsters who are joining the organization, the parents who are teaching their kids. They should talk about these things. What does your child want? What does your team member want? What does a youngster aspiring for a career want? You should not tell them, do this and you'll be successful. You should tell them or you should ask them why you want it. What is your goal? What are you ready to sacrifice to reach that goal? That is when the difference between noise and voice clears. Rather, what we have a habit, as I said, free advice. Jump after 3 years, take this skill set, do this training, go for these classes, go for this. Okay.
Very powerful. These are very pearls of wisdom, Navjot. So, coming to HR specific discussion, we discussed empathy versus objectivity.
Yeah.
and you have worked in MNC companies, you have worked in Indian companies. So, in a sales-driven organization, for example, where the business side, business leaders, they have a different objective, and the pressure amount maybe at a certain level on the employees. So from a business HR, how do you balance the business side of it and the empathy side of it?
So this is something, Amit. I've tried to balance in my previous roles, and I've seen good HR leaders do this perfectly well. And it starts from the point that, do you understand the business? It starts from there. That is the first. Do you understand the business? Second, do you understand your employees? And then what is the balance between your business expectations versus your employee expectations? That's where empathy versus objectivity comes from. Business is objective, HR is empathy, right? And I would remember those words when I first interviewed for Mars. You're a co-pilot. So the job is to balance, right? Whichever organization I've worked for, small, big, medium, Indian, MNC, never have I seen a business leader say, fire people because you have to fire people. Nobody. Nobody. Rather, I've always seen the leaders say, why can't you turn this person around? And when I reflect back, I see that there are gaps in processes, there are gaps in communication, there are gaps in expectation. And all of this comes from the fact that if your organization has a certain objective, a certain vision, and a certain purpose, from the leadership till the last, do people understand this? Are they clear about it? And that is where HR plays a very, very critical role of understanding the vision, purpose, mission, objectives, goals, strategies, KPIs, take it down to the last mile. It's not about a performance management conversation, process rolled out, tool demonstration given, and then people are doing what they want. The whole idea of performance management is to take that goals for the year, ensure that everybody from top till the last mile, they have the same language, they understand the same, they have the same thought process, they understand the goals. The gaps come when there is a breakage, and especially when the number of layers in the organization is high. HR plays a more critical role. Second is the managers. What is the role of the manager in the organization? Are they managing a span of control, or they're managing high performing teams? Again, this is critical. A lot of times we will see that the first level managers and the second level managers, are they clear about the purpose, or they are effective communicators of this message has come from the top, I have passed it on to my field. This thought process has come from my bottom of the pyramid, I'm passing it back to the upper management. If they are doing that, then you will have this imbalance. If they understand the role of a leader, if they understand the role of a manager, and if they understand the purpose and vision of the organization, then this balance of empathy and objectivity is managed. And again, I'll go back to practical examples. After performance management, when most of the grievance comes from the employees, a lot of time it's like, I mean, old days, I see a lot of improvement today, but old days it was the reasons I would hear, oh, I got this rating because manager gave me this rating, and manager said, okay, because HR told there's a bell curve. Like, we've all been there.
Correct.
This is the imbalance between empathy and objectivity. Now, I'll push for another thing. Yes, bell curve is there to manage budgets. Fine, we take it. It's practical. I cannot give everybody higher increments now. Let's take a step back. I'm a high performing organization. I'm going higher, faster than the market, and I'm very clearly using the word higher, right? Because I'm part of the organization. So I aspire to be the market leader. I aspire to grow faster than the market. Should my bell curve be in a 5-point rating scale, for example? Should my bell curve be at 3, or should the median shift to 4? Because I'm expecting everybody to grow faster than the market. Has HR done that balance or recalibration with the business at the beginning of the year? And it's not something which is not natural. Let's say if the organization is growing faster than the market, which means 80% of your population is going to grow at market, and that 20% is going to grow faster than the market. Now, if 80% is going to go at the market, you cannot say that the median is 3. The median has to shift to 4, because they would have achieved their targets, rather overachieve their targets. So why would you not want to reward them? And hence the question is HR playing the role of balancing this quote unquote notional bell curve with an actual business growth which is objective in nature? Right? So if we are able to do that, when will we be able to do that? Only when we understand what are the market realities, how difficult it is to grow. Now, if you're a category leader, you're an innovator, you're creating the category, it's a different story. If you're an entrant in the category and you're chasing market share and you're chasing revenue or top line and growth, it's a different story. If you are a median in the category and you want to still retain your market share, that's a different journey. If you want to bring breakthrough innovation, multiple product launches, it's a different journey. If you're going to change the skill set of your people in the organization because the market has changed, that's a different journey. So how does an HR person understand that and then partner with the business to say, these are your needs, these are your objectives, this is how you deal with your people. If you don't do this, then you're bound to create that imbalance.
Very nice. And where does the stakeholder management come in? Or because unless the HR person is business savvy, he or she has made efforts which are seen by the business that he or she has made an effort to learn business. So then stakeholder management becomes easier when you speak the same business language. How to convince the stakeholders to your point of view?
It's a very, very important point, Amit, you said. And I'll put a different angle to it. HR is an enabler.
HR is a
enabler.
correct.
Okay. We are an enabling function. And I'll give you specific examples. Let's say there's a sales head, there's a marketing head, there's a supply chain head, there's a production head, so on. There are multiple function heads. Sales has sales targets. Manufacturing head will have OTIF targets or production targets or OE targets or efficiency targets. Supply chain head again will have the network efficiency targets, will have the OTIF targets, right? They will all have their purpose. The question is, are you talking to them about business or are you talking to them about their purpose? If you're talking to a sales head, the sales head is saying that 10% of my orders are lost because I don't have a manufacturing capability or capacity, both. Or my SCM is not delivering on time. It's not a sales problem. So it doesn't matter what you talk to them. It's not going to help them. So do you have the ability to go back, talk to the SCM manufacturing organization to figure out what's the gap? The converse is also true. I have additional capacity, but I don't have enough sales. Right? Now the question is, these are the leaders who are managing their functions. Our job is to enable them with better decision-making frameworks. What is right for the organization? What is right for their teams? How do we motivate, engage? How do we ensure that there is good retention? How do we ensure there is good succession? At no point in time, we, and I strongly believe this, HR should not put their point of view on business. I will never go to my leaders and say, you should do this because I am telling you to know. This is my opinion. These are your pros and cons. This is the objective. These are the data points which support it. What I will come back to my business also is with the empathy side of it. If you do this, how will your people feel? If you do this, how will your people feel? Combine both of them. Please take a decision. What do you want to do? I'm here to support. Not the other way around. I see a lot of times people would go back and say, Acha, you need this span breaker. You need this capability. This person is not good. That person is not good. All of these are good comments. Or this person is a top performer. We should promote. No, he's a top performer. Let the decision be with the business leader, whether they want to promote or not promote. End of the day, the deliverable resides with them.
Correct.
Right? So we need to enable those deliverables. Business language helps them understand those deliverables. So if I understand production nicely, if I know what is the difference between an operator and an executive, if I understand the role of a conveyor in my production line, similarly, if I go to IT, if I go to any other business vertical, do I understand the importance of supply chain? If I'm staffing for SAP basis, if I'm staffing for, let's say today, AI, let's say I'm staffing for LLMs, do I understand what LLM is? Do I understand what it does? At the same time, I'm also looking still for people who do know Java. Has Java lost its significance? But the question is, I need to know all of this as an HR professional so that I can talk to them about their purpose. End of the day, we have to keep in mind we're helping them deliver their business values, not my KPIs, their KPIs.
Correct. So see,
So,
please go on.
so till such time we enable their KPIs, the discussions will be mutual.
Correct.
And the point is to have discussions in a mutual way, not you versus me or I versus somebody else. No. Keep the discussions neutral. Keep them, have a level of empathy, have a level of objectivity. That's it.
Very powerful. So see, I mean, HR, more and more HR people now are so knowledgeable about all the departments in their organization. Like, I mean, it's apparent that when we are talking, and so again, does it boil down to curiosity? Because unless you are curious about so many different departments, about how they are being managed, how they manage themselves, and how does it contribute to the larger business picture, so is it only curiosity, or is there any specific uh, roadmap or framework which a young HR professional can use to know about all these things, about all these different departments?
Again, Amit, I feel everybody is intelligent and everyone has the right intent. Okay. Curiosity helps you channel your intent. It helps you channel your purpose. Okay. Uh, can I Google supply chain today, find top KPIs in AI, advise it to my business? Yes. But that does not necessarily mean I know supply chain. To know supply chain, you have to sit with your supply chain person, right from the person who's making an order to the person who's talking to your transporter, to the person who's enabling SNOP, for example, and understand the challenges they're facing. And that no AI tool and no amount of research will help you. You have to sit with those people. For me, and if I limit this to HR, the more HR sits on the laptop, the less they know about their business. HR has to be with the business. HR has to be in the production floor. HR has to sit in the bay where the coding is happening. HR has to sit with the clients to understand what are their needs. HR has to visit these people to understand the, the quality of product expected, the gap in the customer needs. HR has to understand the life cycle of the product. Unless we don't understand this, in my mind, these are all biased discussions. You have read something, you have heard something, and you're having a discussion.
Correct.
For this, curiosity is the base. Unless I have that curiosity, unless I have that restlessness to go to the field and understand, I will never understand. Unless I want to go and talk to my business leader and understand in future what are your prospects of new products, what is the delivery life cycle looking like, if AI is coming in, what is the impact on my software engineers, associate software engineers? Is it making their life easy? Do we expect a value add to the client? Or is it a pure business profitability measure? For example, if I look at customer care, today the customer care industry can be wiped out by AI, so people say. Can it handle 100% of customer queries? In my mind, no. The question is what kind of customer queries it can handle. Can it replace a human empathy? No.
Correct.
Even if you put the voice modulations, right? Can it replace a human empathy? Let's say I'm calling an insurance company and the call goes to an AI customer service. Will they understand if I'm crying and if I say something is urgent? No, it will just blow back SLAs and process and blah blah blah. It's so irritating today. If you ask me, is it helpful? I will find it very irritating. Today, if I have to call XYZ customer care, it will route me through hundreds of messages and do this and do that and go to the app and do. I'm intelligent enough to know these things cannot answer my query. That's why I'm calling. But still, they would route me through all of this. So, is it helping me as a customer service? I would say it's irritating me as a customer. Now, the question is, does HR understand it? They will understand it. If they understand it, they'll be able to advise the business that maybe 30% of pyramid still needs to be there as humans and not replaced by AI. And that will happen if they're curious enough to understand what kind of queries are coming in. And they will understand the queries coming in only when they're sitting with the people, not looking at Excel sheets and productivity measures.
So very powerful, Navjot. So, see, we have already crossed the time that we had set for ourselves by more than a few minutes. I mean, the discussion is going so well that so many more questions are popping in my mind. Maybe we'll go for another round of a podcast with you, Navjot. But it has been such a pleasure talking to you. Unfortunately, we have to, stick to the timelines that we have set.
Sure.
So thanks for giving us time, Navjot. It has been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Sure. Thanks, Amit. It's been a pleasure again interacting with you, and all the best for you and for what your organization is doing. I think that's great work. And as I said, my recommendation is while you're doing the brain rewiring at a leadership level, try and see how our youngsters uh, can can get benefits out of it. Maybe a smaller duration course or something that could be readily available for them to get to this voice versus noise. What is my purpose? What do I want to do in my career? I think some of those could be good, and I'll be happy to help if you need my help.
Very nice. Very, very, very good point. Good idea, Navjot. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amit. See you. Bye.